Welcome home, Bitcoin Truth Seekers. This is Tuesday, August 17th, 6:28 p.m. here in an Arizona jab-free green zone. Sorry, it's been a little while getting back to this. So it's kind of Tuesday evening. Bitcoin's a bit odd. Let's look at what's going on. All right, so BitcoinDailyView.com, as always, got more for you there. Venmo now works with crypto. I checked it out. It's really there. So I haven't actually bought any crypto with it or really done anything. But I'm going to play with it and just see what it does. And it's cool. So I'm glad that this is really massive adoption. I mean, Venmo it's like kind of the like PayPal, but with social media built in. I mean, Venmo is pretty cool. So if this cryptocurrency is truly integrated into this, and I'm going to look deeper into it, but I can say that it's there, and that's cool. Watchtheburn.com. Watchtheburn.com. Check it out. It shows in many different ways the Ethereum burn going on. It's kinda cool. All right, looking at trading volume, basically all pairs on Binance right now. 29 billion last 24 hours. That's not bad. If you're in the high 20s, you're looking pretty good. Even better in the 30s. But really, we're almost 30 billion. Not bad. Up 10% last 24 hours. So volume, it's not incredible, but it certainly ain't bad. It's good enough to call it an okay market. Derivatives, I like to see it above 70 billion. It's at 88 billion and up 11% last 24 hours. That is pretty darn massive. So derivatives, futures definitely doing well on Binance. Looking at Bitcoin trading volume explicitly, we're at 4.6 billion. I can dig that. It's not that much, but really we've been struggling a good number of days to be above 3 billion. And in some of the recent pumps, we've been to like 5 or 6, I think. Anyway, 4.6 billion, good enough. So we'll take it. I'm not going to call it crappy. I'm just not going to call it. I'm not going to call it great either. So mediocre volume basically, but enough. It's above 3 billion, so it's not shitty. Anyway, Binance at 2.7 billion of that, and Coinbase showing up for 732 billion. And of course, this is retail trading volume for Bitcoin, not whale trading volume. And if you ask me, whales are what are kind of really making the moves these days. So looking at shorts versus longs sentiment, let me refresh this because it refreshes quick. All right, on Binance, longs, um, longs 66%, shorts 33%. Definitely a long sentiment for Bitcoin right now. Looking at ETH, longs versus shorts on Binance, 68% long, 31% shorts. So that is pretty darn good. Definitely a long sentiment for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Looking at the last hour only on Coin360. It is mostly a red day in the market, last hour at least, except for Sol. Sol is doing pretty darn good today. We'll take a closer look at that. It definitely dumped with Bitcoin this morning. Looking at crypto bubbles the last hour, just because it's so damn cool looking, look at that. VGX up 18% last hour. Pretty darn good. VGX, where to go? All right, let's check out Bitcoin, of course, because this is the BitcoinDailyView.com, of course. So anyway, Bitcoin versus USDT on the daily. This is the 314 moving average on the bottom, 200 moving average on the top. This is a daily chart. So we were above the 200 moving average, but unfortunately we have dropped below it. Although the new candle today, since the market is technically closed, this is a new candle, and so far it's green, but it's very indecisive. We do have a negative MACD cross on the daily that happened today, not a positive sign. So, okay, and then of course this cool hash ribbons indicator has its little blue dot, and that's a big deal. I think it's looking at the, if I remember correctly, let me just look at this thing. This thing actually uses the SMA, simple moving average, on the daily, the 30 and the 60. And so that's kind of what it uses to compute all of its stuff. So if you check it out, if you look at the pine for it, it's interesting. And traditionally, I mean, people have used this. I mean, if you want, retroactively look at it over the course of a couple years with a daily candle, it has some accuracy to it. Even if it's just kind of a cult classic indicator, still, it did have a blue dot, and that's kind of rare, and it's still blue, so it's good to go. It's a powerful indicator. It tends to be a harbinger of good things. So anyway, negative MACD, positive hash ribbons indicator, more really important than the positive hash ribbons blue dot, really is the MACD. it has turned negative on the daily. That is a tremendous amount of downwards pressure on Bitcoin. So we're below the 200 moving average. And if we look at this, you know, closely here, you can see, of course, that our daily trend is down, and now we're below the 200 moving average. So we really need to pump and get above that 200 moving average, and we need to get this MACD positive again, or we can probably expect, don't know how long, but a little while of dumps. One thing that can be done right here that I hadn't thought of is if we look at a fib retracement, let's just look not here, but here. And let's check that out. Where are we at? Going towards that 236, you can see a bounce at 43,718. That's, so 43,000. A lot of people are predicting around 44,000 something of a recovery, a turn up. Definitely possible. Let's just look at the recent fib here on the daily. And what are we looking at there? If we look, the 382, if we do it that way, and that could be around 43,973. So really around 44,000. If we get below that and stay below that, start trending below that, well, maybe that's some scary stuff right there. Anyway, check it out. This is the 100. This is the 50 and the 100. I believe so. 50 and 100. Yes. Okay, 50 and 100. So the 50 is crossing above the 100. The 50 is the white. The 100 is the green. So many people call that like a golden cross here on the daily. So it looks like we're going to see a golden cross, but Bitcoin's price action is dropping. So maybe we won't. Anyway, you can see what happened back here when we golden crossed the wrong way. Go away. You can kind of see it here. We obviously what happened, we had that negative golden cross, and things just didn't, go so well after that. They kind of went sideways after that, really. Well, anyways, let's see how this positive golden cross goes. I mean, if this does cross positive, which it kind of is happening, let's see what happens. On the daily chart here, we do see the sorry about that. The Madrid, sorry, gosh, I'm on a mess tonight. The directional index is in the green. ADX is still above 25. It's at 27. Beginning to trend down, as we can see. Thus, we're losing some of that velocity going on. That was cool. Anyway, and the squeeze indicator, of course, very, very good indicator. I really like it. As you can see, the squeeze indicator beginning to lose some velocity here. So anyway, we're just kind of, we're cooling off on the daily chart a little bit. The lazy bear indicator here, I really do like it. It's showing overbought, and it is basically dumping the lazy bear oscillator. The green is below the red plus signs. That is basically means that we are so the blue is the wave trend oscillator, and the red, I need to change that. That is terribly annoying. The red cross symbols there, the little red little red plus signs. I'll change that to just a red line, but basically it's a oscillator has gone below the signal, so that definitely it is quite the indicator, especially on the daily. It's a lazy bear's wave trend oscillator. I do link to it over at bitcoindailyview.com. If you scroll down there, you will find it. Rather positive, rather powerful indicator. Even if it's not that well known or heard of, that man's written some cool stuff, and that is a very cool indicator. So it looks like on the daily we're just plain old cooling off a bit. That just tends to be how it's happening. Can we turn that around? Well, we shall see. We'll see if this golden cross, as they call it, if that happens. I guess it kind of is happening right now. If that can bring some life into things. But really, looking at this, I mean, just the traditional boring stuff, I guess. 200 moving average, we've broken below it, we couldn't hold it, and the daily MACD is negative. I mean, that we're going to have a downtrend until that MACD turns around, starts at least moving towards a positive cross again. I would expect more downside to Bitcoin. All right, looking at Bitcoin on the 45-minute chart for immediate price action, I did do a Fibonacci here. I went back to around August 5th. For a low, went to our high, and now as you can see, we are visiting this 382 fib line right at around 44,026. I'm going to be honest with you, I actually put a buy-in at 44,050, and we'll see if that fills. It looks like maybe we could very well get a bounce off this fib line because we can see previous bounces there. Support resistance has existed there in the past, so it matches up when your fib matches reality, previous support and resistance. Well, that's kind of good. If we fail that 382 at 44,026, like I say, my buy is at 44,050. And we're going to go down to the dot 5 probably, 42,749, or just 42,750 basically. If we really dump to the 618, that would be 41,471. So anyway, if so we'll see if that happens. I think past the 618, well, just forget it. I'm going home. Anyway, with that said, Ethereum, honestly, it's pretty much doing what Bitcoin is doing. Although I would say I think it's recovering a little bit quicker. So if Bitcoin continues to recover, we'll look at this thing here. Get rid of that. I'll leave the fib. Let's look at this. Let's get my other indicators in here. So you can see that the directional index is still deeply in the red. ADX is pumping. That doesn't matter because this is dumping. Anyway, the squeeze indicator is beginning to show a cool off of the downwards momentum. KRI is beginning to trend up, but it certainly is not in the green yet. Stochastic RSI, if I can get it to maximize for us here, it doesn't want to today. I'll maximize. There we go. Come on. Anyway, I'm not getting it. Sorry, I'm on my laptop. It's kind of small. There we go. The stochastic RSI has turned positive and is moving back into a beautiful buy zone. So it looks here like we are, oversold. Anyway, looking at the wave trend oscillator here on Lazy Bear, it's actually turning positive. That's pretty cool. And I'll get rid of these stupid red check marks. It does show a beautiful bounce there. So, and we have a fib level kind of supporting us there. So very well could be seeing an uptrend beginning. I wouldn't confirm it yet. I'd really wait until the directional index was in the green and the ADX was at least above, what's it, 24 right now. I'd wait till it was about at least 20 to 25, somewhere in there, before I was hopping back in. But it looks like we could be seeing a bounce here. 15-minute chart. Let's look at that. How does that look? Let's open this up a little bit. 15-minute chart. We could be seeing that bounce also. Very, very possible. So, be that as it may, we'll see. Maybe Bitcoin's seeing a bounce, but I will say really be careful, because with that daily MACD in the negative and the daily now below the super moving average, we're going to have a downwards pressure. Let's look at the 4-hour chart with this. This won't mean much. Yeah, it will. Screw it, it will. 4-hour chart, still above the 2 moving average, looking good. That's good. Let's look at the 2-hour. Oh, actually, let's look at also the MACD there on the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart MACD is negative. Let's look at the 2-hour chart. The 2-hour chart tends to be very, very powerful for the MACD and Bitcoin. 2-hour chart definitely crappy too. MACD not looking too hot. I would say you could put a alert in for the 2-hour MACD and see when that crosses positive. That would be a first sign that you definitely are having a bit of a turnaround. And then I would watch for the 4-hour and the daily to turn positive. But if the daily is in the 4-hour and the daily are moving in a positive direction, towards a positive cross, and the 2-hour does cross positive. 2-hour cross is positive, and then 4-hour and daily are trending towards positive, might be a good sign of a reversal. Anyway, as always, none of this is financial advice. I'm crazy, just so you know. Disclaimer. Anyway, Ethereum versus USDT, really doing the same thing Bitcoin is doing. It was bouncing and getting below the 2-minute moving average. It's actually flirted too closely with the 314 moving average. Now it's dumped below it. Chart looks just like Bitcoin. Only thing I would say is Ethereum is turning around quicker and will probably outgain Bitcoin in percent if Bitcoin if this is actually the bounce point for it. Bitcoin. Look at ADA versus USDT. I like this chart, even though it's rather heartbreaking if you are into ADA. Definitely a dump. It went below the 2 moving average, but it did bounce about 314. And here we're seeing a nice strong move. So you can see the directional index is still way, way in the red and such like that. Not even like turning around yet. Squeeze indicator is showing just the beginning of cooling off. KRI is turning up. Stochastic RSI looks good, and the wave trend oscillator by Lazy Bear is showing definite buy zone. So for Cardano ADA, if your bags have turned red and your dreams are beginning to fade, well, maybe you could add to that position right now. I mean, it's risky, because we very well may find support. You may bounce up that 200 moving average right here, and then just do one of one of these things where it kind of goes, I'm feeling good about myself. I'm then, oh no, I'm not really. Oh no, I'm not. Oh, I give up. Anyway, so just be careful. Um, if I was going to add to my position right now, I think I definitely would have a stop loss below this 314, right at about 1.8. That's where I would have it. Doge. Doge, it dumped below the 200 moving average with Bitcoin dumping today. It did wick below the 314, but it seems to be bouncing. Indicators, we're beginning to see a turnaround. So Doge versus USDT, possible by the dip zone. Solana is doing really, really well. Everyone likes Sol these days. This is a 4-hour chart. I was kind of watching for the 4-hour chart to have a green candle today. These indicators in general are still pretty good on the 4-hour chart for Solana, even with that dump. So starting to see a green candle form there. Well, we have a green candle is forming. It's moving on the 4-hour chart. Now going to my favorite little 45-minute chart where you can see it really got wrecked by that Bitcoin dump earlier. But the directional index is not that in the red. The ADX is at 17.5 or so. So, I would say this is a pretty, I'm not going to say safe bet. I mean, everything's a freaking terrifying, crazy bet. The squeeze indicator is beginning to cool off. KRI is turning up. Lazy bear indicators looking good. Stochastic RSI is looking good. So for the crazy brave and phony tough, maybe a buy zone. But I would say definitely if you wait for the directional index to fire off a green candle or two, and that ADX is below, the white line is above 20 at least, preferably 25. Now, once we start getting some white golf balls firing up with some green candles here in the directional index, Solana, boom, gold quite possibly. Like I say, for the crazy tough and phony brave, well, maybe this would be a time to get in if you're crazy. And I'm feeling a little crazy, so I might hop in. I might scale in a little bit back into Solana. I sold it when it dumped in profit because, well, once you turn around and you're not making me money, you're just a forgotten cigarette butt stepped on in the street. Anyway, so Litecoin versus USDT. Why I mention this is because, well, why not? Litecoin did dump below the 200 moving average in the 314 with that Bitcoin dump, big time. But we can see on this 45-minute chart, we're beginning to see a turnaround. The directional index is beginning to chill out. It's beginning to lighten up. So is the squeeze indicator, KRI. It's beginning to turn up. God, wow. Yeah, stochastic RSI is in, if I can maximize it here, the stochastic RSI is in a beautiful spot, way down here in this beautiful, beautiful buy zone. Definitely oversold, and it has turned positive. So that's kind of beautiful. And lazy bear indicator is showing, boom, it's buy time. So Litecoin versus USDT, kind of forgotten. No one's been thinking about it recently, and it has definitely dumped with Bitcoin, but we'll see. The safe bet is when it gets above the 200 moving average. But, for those people who are really aggressively trying to buy them dips, well, maybe it's a play. I'm back, Bitcoin Truth Seekers, and I will work on getting over to my main workstation where I have the camera, big high-resolution monitor, and everything works better. Well, anyhow, this has been, and we're getting back at this. I'll get my ass up early and get these things out. This is the Bitcoin Daily View, Tuesday, August 17th. Now it's 6:46 p.m. here in the Arizona desert in a completely safe, jab-free green zone. Take care.